So Nepal is like your second home. What brings you here this time?
This time, primarily, I am coming to address the convocation in the Surkhet University. So that brought me here.
So are you or your organization involved in any rescue projects related to Nepali children as of now?
Of course, of course. For last 40 years, I have been personally involved in rescuing not hundreds but thousands of Nepalese children from the carpet industry in Uttar Pradesh, and of course domestic child labor, prostitution, circus industry. So there were so many other areas where the Nepalese girls and boys were trafficked and enslaved there. But that goes on actually. Until and unless the trafficking is completely wiped out from South Asia, then only then we can say that problem is solved.
In that context, as the world continues to combat the coronavirus pandemic, what has the impact been on children in particular?
I have been alarming the world right from the beginning that this will not remain only a health crisis or an economic crisis. Corona pandemic would be the crisis of childhood, freedom, education. And eventually it's a crisis of civilization. And the children are going to become the worst sufferers of this, directly or indirectly. Globally, 1.6 billion children did not attend their school for more than a year or more than a year and a half. And we are afraid that at least 20 to 30 million will never return back to school. Child prostitution, child labor, child trafficking, all these crimes against children are growing. But there was another significant growth which is very serious, is the demand for child porn online. So online child sexual abuse has grown multiple times globally during this time. So people were sitting at home and they were opting to buy child sex porn online. So that was very unfortunate.
While countries continue to develop and formulate laws to combat these kind of issues, how far have we gone? What have the achievements been in the past couple of decades? And how do we continue to combat these online issues as well?
We have some cybercrime laws in most countries, or many countries I would say. But when it comes to online child sexual abuse, there is no international law, unfortunately. There is no UN convention, which I have been demanding for quite some time, and I will keep on demanding, that there should be some strong check on the data service providing companies, because they make money, they mint money out of this child sexual abuse material which is uploaded and then distributed. So children are taken to such crime from some places, and they were used for production of porn materials in another countries, and the third country or fourth country is going to host that cyber group or company. So it's a global phenomena, global problem. So there is a need of an international convention, international law, but also the countries should also make such laws so that such material is not uploaded from the source. So data service provider companies have to be held accountable.
In this context, and I quote from your acceptance speech, you've said, democratizing knowledge, universalizing justice, and globalizing compassion, they are the key factors. So how have they facilitated in the march so far?
Well, we have been pushing this idea of globalization of compassion because we have globalized economies and production, markets, technology, etc., etc. But when it comes to feel that we are responsible for each other's good and bad both, then we have to feel the suffering of others as our own suffering with a drive to end that suffering. In our personal life, in our social life, but also in the political life, in the international arena, we have to globalize compassion, particularly during and after the pandemic, when we all should learn that world is interconnected, world is interdependent, no problem can be seen and solved in isolation.
In this regard, the forum that you've created, the platform of leaders and laureates since many years, has it been contributing in this regard, also the United Nations?
So first of all, we have been able to bring about more awareness, more consciousness among the ordinary masses as well as at the top level. Several examples. One is that for the first time in the outcome document of G20, this issue of child labor, slavery, trafficking has been incorporated. So that is good. Recently, we have collectively demanded to European Union and African Union summit that has taken place only a month or 6 weeks ago. So as this group of 92 Nobel laureates and world leaders, former presidents, prime ministers, etc., we have demanded that the children should be prioritized. The children who are most marginalized, their rights, their well-being and development have to be protected in the post-pandemic time. And that has been incorporated in the outcome document, or a kind of a joint commitment of European Union and African Union. So many of such things are happening, but much more is needed. Now as this group, we are pushing for the creation of a global social protection fund. Because we have seen that in the countries, in Nepal we have some programs of social protection, in India we have some programs. In many countries, wherever there are some social protection schemes for the marginalized people and particularly for children, the results were beautiful, the results were remarkable. So we have to invest more on it. Countries should invest more on it, but also it's a global responsibility to create such a fund so that low-income countries could benefit out of it immediately.
I also remember from your acceptance speech, you've said that conferences alone are not enough. Some prescriptions from outside are not enough. It is about the individuals and the local levels who are responsible in curbing crimes related to children. So how have we done, or what else needs to be done to further strengthen the local authorities and individuals in this regard?
It requires several things. One is the sensitization of local authorities, and also consciousness raising in the society, in the communities, among the parents and so on. It also requires some sort of sensitization of the key stakeholders like the teachers, the police, and other institutions or staff who are in direct contact with the children. Health workers, for example, doctors, nurses. So they should learn how to treat with the children. I was addressing only yesterday in Jaipur the Rajasthan Police Day, and I have called upon all police, because they were all present in their district but also in Jaipur, and I have urged them that since the police is the first phase of governance, and that I can say here as well, so police is the first phase of governance, so they should be sensitized and trained that how to treat with children, women, particularly with the most marginalized children who are suffering. So we can build that confidence. So building confidence from the society by way of empowering them would definitely help. Nepal, I have been working in Nepal and visiting Nepal dozens and dozens of times for last almost 40 years or 40 years. So I know that people are very hardworking. What is needed is much more self-confidence, more pride that we are Nepalese. So brilliant people in all walks of life, if they are given opportunities, and it is a collective moral responsibility of the international community to support Nepal financially, technically, politically, diplomatically, so that Nepalese can prove themselves that they are no lesser than any other in the world.
Thank you so much, sir. It's very inspiring that we get to hear from you and then we get to meet you in person. And the work that you've been doing for our country also, the children out here, is very moving.
Pleasure.